Cues to stand or be seated will be given. Military guests in uniform should stand at attention for the national anthem, while civilian guests may place their hand over their heart during the national anthem. Please silence all cellular phones at this time, and the ceremony will begin shortly. Good morning. In keeping with one of the oldest traditions in military service, today we will pay special tribute to Lieutenant Colonel Christian J. Pierce on the occasion of his retirement from 21 years of distinguished service in the United States Air Force. The presiding officer for today's ceremony is Colonel Scott D. Brodeur, United States Space Force, retired. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem by Mrs. Patricia Pierce and invocation by Mr. Joshua Pierce.
Present the colors.
Reset alt. Forward. Arms. Colors turn. Perch.
Please remain standing for the invocation.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with hearts full of gratitude, lifting up Chris as he celebrates the completion of his journey in the United States Air Force. Lord, we thank you for his years of service, his courage, his dedication, and the sacrifice and service he has given in defense of and service to his nation. We thank you for your steadfast love, guidance, and grace given to Chris and his family through the numerous challenges and times away from home. Father, we want to especially recognize and give thanks to Chris's family. Becca has been a pillar of support, his steady companion through every season, and we thank you for that gift to him. Lord, we know that their sacrifices as a family have been significant, and we ask that you bless them abundantly for their unwavering support and love of Chris. We pray that you continue to lead Chris on the path you have prepared for him. Let him continue to be a source of light, strength, and wisdom to all those he encounters, and may he serve your kingdom in new ways as only you have planned. We ask your blessings on this day and going forward in Chris's and his family's lives. In all these things, we ask your blessings. In the name of Jesus Christ, your Son and our Savior. Amen.
Thank you, Joshua and Patty. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are honored to introduce Colonel Pierce's family members in attendance today. His wife, Rebecca, his children, Ethan, Elena, and Eric, his parents, James and Patty, and his brothers, Josh and Ben. A special welcome is also extended to Colonel Jason Paul, Chief of the Systems Engineering and Integration Division, Ms. Jacqueline Werwitsky, Deputy Division Chief of the Sentinel Systems Program Office, Colonel Aaron Carl, United States Space Force retired, and Colonel Stacy Balzer, United States Air Force retired. And to all Sentinel family and all other friends and coworkers here today, thank you for joining us for this momentous occasion. It is my pleasure to welcome Colonel Brodeur for remarks.
Good to go? I want to make sure Grandma here's in Colorado. Good? Okay.
First of all, I want to just say thanks for all the folks that are here supporting Chris in volunteering your time. So I know he'll comment on his remarks, but this is a really big deal for Chris and his family, and I appreciate all of you taking time out of your day to support this event and put it on for the family. I'm actually taken aback by the front row, the family here. This is a pretty strong showing for Chris today, and we have a saying in uniform that what really matters when you're struggling between work and life balance is the front row, or who's going to be there at the very end of your service. That's what really matters. And so when you're struggling with that balance, you always think about who will actually be there for me when this is all said and done. And you guys showed up powerfully, and I appreciate y'all being here. I've known Chris and the Pierce family for 12 years now. And we met Chris was still a captain. We met in Alamogordo, New Mexico at Holloman, where Chris was on his third assignment, and I had just taken command of the 4th Space Control Squadron. Almost a year ago, I guess, Chris asked me to do the ceremony, to preside over his retirement. And to be honest with you, I have been retired for 2 years. I never thought I'd put the uniform back on. So with the exception of maybe my children getting commissioned, I didn't anticipate putting the uniform back on. So it's a huge privilege to be asked. I appreciate you for thinking of me, and it's an honor to retire you today, so thank you. Funny story, once Chris asked me to do his retirement, I didn't really think about it again. I just knew that my jacket had to fit. So if you're in the front row and one of these goes fine, but my fat gut might come through. But I was asked to actually promote someone a couple months ago. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to do the retirement. It's all good to go. Tara and I were getting ready to go to Maui, and it was a Friday. We were flying out on a Saturday, and the next week I was coming back to do this promotion. So I was like, hey, remind me to square away my uniform. Like, I got to make sure I'm good to go. So it's literally last minute, and I said, oh, I forgot, I got to check my uniform, and I put my jacket on. I was like, fits. So I was like, step one out of the way. And then I was like, where's my other stuff? Like, where's my pants and my shirt and that? And she's like, it's in the closet. And I looked through. I was like, not there. She's like, it's in the upstairs closet. Look through all that. It's not there. And she's like, when's the last time you saw it? And I was like, it was in a clear tub in the garage with all my other uniform stuff. And so she's like, yeah. So, surprise, we had the garage professionally organized because we're now in our forever home and we don't need to move anymore. So we cleared everything out. And yeah, your uniforms are at Goodwill. And so I'm like, I have to do this promotion. Like, I need my stuff. And so I had shoes and I had a jacket, and my friend recently retired in Huntsville, Colonel Rhett Turnbull. So I called him up and I was like, dude, I have a huge favor to ask. I need your service dress. And he's a little bit shorter than me. He's a little bit skinnier than me. But he said, yeah, no problem, come and get it. So I put it on, and the sleeves literally came up to here. I couldn't button my shirt. The pants were high waters. I could barely get them buttoned. And I did this promotion ceremony. I had to admit, I mean, my uniform looked ridiculous. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, you're right. This does not fit right. So, and interestingly, Huntsville doesn't have military clothing for Air Force. So we had to go to Colorado. I had to get a new uniform. So this is for you, my friend. I had to actually buy a whole new uniform after retirement. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. I wanted to share with you guys a quick story. So right after I retired, I connected with this guy on LinkedIn. His name is Lon Stroshine, and he's a corporate executive. He's a C-suite guy, Fortune 500 guy, and he was, he was rather content in his job, security. He was at the top of his game. He had a safety net. He had a good job, but he was not happy, and he started talking about, hey, there's something in my heart that I really want to do, and it's not what I'm currently doing. I want to feel like I'm living. I want to feel like I have time. I want to feel like I don't leave anything on the table before it's too late. And he wrote a book on it, and he called it The Trade. The Trade. And so the trade is the life you have for the life you want. And so I read this book. I talked to him, and he's a really friendly guy. And it started to make me think that, the way we are in the military is we get conditioned as officers from a young age. We're conditioned to compete with our peers. So from the get-go, you're looking for, you come out of college and you get commissioned and you're looking for more responsibility, because you need that responsibility to be stratified on your performance report. And you need that because you want to go to squadron officer school in residence. And so you'll even do squadron officer school in correspondence, finish the program just so that you can do it again in residence. And you want that because you want to be a DG at SOS, because that's important, because when you make major, you want to go to intermediate developmental education in residence, so you'll do all these steps. And it becomes this cycle of more responsibility for stratification, for promotion, for school, for command, for better stratification, for promotion, for school, and then you get caught in this culture of, these become my goals. Your goals become what the military tells you that they are. You're expected to want to do this, and it conditions us. And so I started thinking about that and what Lon was talking about in The Trade. So Chris and I, we kept in touch from the time he was a captain, and we were always kept in communication with the family. So Chris was thinking, hey, I've got to, you were at LA, you were coming here, and you said, I'm going to defer Air War College. It's like, okay, if you defer, obviously if you go to Air War College, it's like a 99.9% chance you'll pin on colonel. So I was like, all right, you're kind of coming to that decision point where you don't know what you want to do. But again, we've ingrained ourselves that if I serve, I'm going to continue to serve until the Air Force tells me they no longer want me or whatever. We kind of make these things up. You also continue to serve because you feel, man, people have invested in me and I kind of want to see it to the end. And you get this fake guilt. You get a guilt that says, look, I don't want to let people down. It's about the mission. I'm here to serve. I want to serve. But that starts to confuse what Lon was talking about, which is the life you need, your life you want. So you were selected for promotion, you did all these things, and then you looked at your family and said, look, this is what's important to me, my time. I don't want to move my kids again. I want to reconnect with my wife. I want to have things back. I don't want to go to the Pentagon. I don't want to deploy again. right? I just bought this house in Salt Lake City and I want to stay here. I want control of that. And that started to become, in my opinion, you doing the trade without ever knowing of Lon Stroschein. And so it's interesting to observe because you made the right decision. You're here today with the satisfaction that you did more than most. You have an impeccable career. You now have your front row sitting here with your beautiful wife and children and your family surrounding you. You're close to family. You have a house and you have a job lined up. And so you've made the right decision. And so there's no, after today, after this ceremony, I hope that you feel this, I did it. I'm done. And now you get to live the life that you've dreamed of. You get to go forward and set your own destiny, going after all those things that you forgave when you were serving. So I just think that I'm proud of you for what you've done. And, from the time we spent together, your family was a role model for the service as well. And I see, Tara and I were talking earlier today. I was like, Rebecca was a freaking rock star. She's a boss. She's definitely a boss. When Chris was at Holloman, so we were there 2012 to I was there 2012 to 2014. But Chris was, without going into all your history, Chris was my chief of weapons and tactics, which was one of my weapons officer positions that I put Chris in charge of that shop. Just because he was a stud. He was ready to get down to work. And he was one of our few engineers, but I was treating him like an operator. And so I put him into chief of weapons and tactics, then you became the assistant director of operations, the assistant DO. But the part that gets to Rebecca is I put Chris on the deployment rotation. So he was going to be the 17th Expeditionary Space Control Squadron commander, which had never been an engineer in the history. I don't think anyone else has ever done that. But Rebecca was pregnant with Eric. And so I was like, okay, we don't have enough field grade officers to pull this off. You have to go. And sorry. And Rebecca gave birth on the 1st of January, the day before Chris left. That's a rock star. That's too much to ask. Way too much to ask. But we are conditioned to do what's the mission's first, right? It's not. It's the family's first. Because you're in the front row. But that could have gone any number of ways. But we were in a bind. I was in Afghanistan. I had another field grade officer just coming off deployment who couldn't deploy back to back. Chris was the only field grade officer. My DO had just deployed, and you were tapped. You had to go. We didn't have a choice. And there was seemingly no way around that. And now you carry that guilt. You had to do that. You were raising baby. Elena was 1. Ethan was a toddler. And Eric was a newborn. That's too much to ask. Anyway, I thank you for that. I hope that today you feel the relief that what comes first now is you. And it should have always been that way. Your family should have always been first. But we got ingrained into this thing where we made decisions that were stupid. And you paid the price for that. So I'm sorry for that. Okay, it's customary to go through your history before we retire you. Chris was the U.S. Air Force Academy class of 23. I'm sorry, 2003. God, I'm thinking of my children. 2003. And so you came, your first assignment was here. You were a mechanical engineer, you came here to Hill. And that's where you met Rebecca. You did two kind of jobs while you were here, munitions test, I think, and propulsion test?
Yes, sir. So both similar, just more responsibility as the chief propulsion engineer at the end.
Okay, so you do that job, and then you went to AFIT, so he goes out to Ohio, right, Pat? Goes to AFIT, you get your degree, and you follow on, you stay at AFIT, or stay at Wright Pat, and you go to AFRL, Air Force Research Lab. And if you were in the Nano-Energetics Research Division?
Yes, sir. I was the lead for that.
This is crazy. This is how big brain this guy is. Look in your program, and on Chris's bio, there's publications. There's 3 of them. Read the titles. I'll give you just a moment. I read these last night, and I was just like, what is this guy? What do you do for entertainment, man? This is crazy. Okay, I don't remember them. I read them multiple times, and I was like, I'm not going to write it down. I'm not going to use notes, so you'll have to just read for yourself. But it's insane, the size of the melon on this guy. So you actually did an exec job. You were a systems engineer in a program that I can't remember, and then you come to Holloman. So Chris shows up. He does Chief of Weapons and Tactics, which is one of my premier weapons officer jobs. I wanted Chris to be in that. I wanted Chris to be an operator, even though he was an engineer. We put you in DO. You went out to the 17th. You deployed. In fact, I went through, if you remember, when I came out of Afghanistan, we came through Al Udeid and saw the team there. You were crushing it. And I came home, and I actually changed over command. You were still gone. While we were all deployed, the decision was made to move the unit from Holloman to Colorado Springs. So in the garrison unit was going crazy. We had very little leadership on-prem, and we had to move the garrison unit to Colorado. And so it was a crazy madhouse. Chris ended up being part of the team that moved the unit. We combined with our sister unit in Colorado and became one large space control squadron. And Chris was there. He made the move. The family went up there. And then you deployed again. You were the first expeditionary space control squadron commander in Jordan. And again, no other engineer we fought Rockmiller to get you to do that. I don't know if you remember that. It was a tough row to hoe, and we ended up getting you that. And although I felt bad about the timing of the 17th deployment, it's very, very extraordinary to have an engineer command 2 ops units forward. And so I'm proud of you for that, and I'm equally, remorseful at the end game that your family endured that when it wasn't, that wasn't what you signed up for. You left, because of his ops experience, he became an ops officer for the 25th Space Range Squadron, which was really a extraordinary ops job. You left that to go down to Maxwell, where you did your Air Command and Staff College tour. And then we were communicating, but I was at STRATCOM at the time, and you were like, hey, I'm coming to STRATCOM. I was like, I just got orders out of here. But I wanted you to have a good job. So I was working directly with the J3. I was spreading the word. I was trying to get you right in the best position I could. And you ended up working in the J3, not exactly in the shop I wanted you in, but you got taken care of there. You're the FGO of the year or something when you were there. So he crushes it, and you guys go to LA after that assignment. You did cross-mission ground, and LA is also, that's a big ask. Did you guys like LA? Yeah, it grows, some parts grow on you. You can't afford a house there. You can't afford to even rent there. But he does LA, and then he comes here to be on the Sentinel program, and that's where we really started talking about, hey, what's next? And it was, Chris was set up. I mean, he crushed it. He was going to War College. You were going to make colonel, and it was all lining up. And that's when you start to gain clarity on what's important, and you start to gain clarity on what I want to do. For real, not just this facade of being in the military. And here's the deal. Everybody's replaceable immediately. The second you leave your job, someone takes it. There's not 1 second. The military doesn't give you 1 second later. That's it. You're done, you're replaced. But we think, man, I gotta take care of the people. I led well, and now you let that become guilt that doesn't need to be. So I'm proud of you. I am apologetic to you, Rebecca. You did it. You did well. And you led well, and you made a difference. And I appreciate you. And so I think I'll stop crying up here, being fat in my uniform, and let's get this started and get you on the road to retirement. Appreciate you. Come on up.
Thank you, Colonel Brodeur. At this time, Colonel Brodeur will present the Meritorious Service Medal to Lieutenant Colonel Pierce. Please stand for the medal presentation and remain standing for the reading of the retirement orders. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Meritorious Service to Lieutenant Colonel Christian J. Pierce. Lieutenant Colonel Christian J. Pierce distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Deputy Chief, Systems Engineering and Integration Division for the Sentinel Program Office, Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center, Air Force Materiel Command, Hill Air Force Base, Utah, from 1 August 2022 to 31 December 2024. During this period, Lieutenant Colonel Pierce led a 300-person team responsible for ensuring quality systems engineering processes for a $141 billion next-generation intercontinental ballistic missile program. His efforts were key to establishing the Sentinel Integration Team, consolidating integration efforts of 8 divisions, and ensuring program alignment and technical compatibility across the weapon system. He also pioneered a joint government and prime contractor parts review board. He optimized a $274 million parts program and reduced a non-standard parts in Sentinel designs by 90%. Lastly, Lieutenant Colonel Pierce led a joint Air Force and Navy working group to solve a radiation-hardened parts issue, averting a 2-year delay to a $179 billion Sentinel qualification effort. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Pierce culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force.
Well done, my friend.
Please remain standing as Colonel Brodeur retires Lieutenant Colonel Pierce.
Publish the order.
Department of the Air Force, Washington, District of Columbia, Special Order Number Alpha Lima 000206, dated 31 December 2024, by the order of the Secretary of the Air Force, Lieutenant Colonel Christian J. Pierce is retired from active duty, effective 1 January 2025, after 21 years of faithful and honorable duty.
Oh, the big dog.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Colonel Brodeur will now present a certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States. The certificate reads, Certificate of Appreciation for Service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. I extend my personal gratitude and the sincere appreciation of a grateful nation to you for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication in our armed forces helped protect your fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion to duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embodied the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and to keep our country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, Joseph R. Biden, Jr., Commander-in-Chief. I would like to invite Rebecca to come forward for the presentation of the Air Force Retirement Pin. Please place the pin on your spouse's left lapel. This pin is to be worn with pride. It signifies to everyone that you have served our country well and honorably. The Spouse Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Air Force Chief of Staff will now be presented to Mrs. Pierce. The certificate reads, In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents the Certificate of Recognition to Mrs. Rebecca M. Pierce for the commitment and numerous contributions that make positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Signed, General David W. Alvin, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force. Ethan, Elena, and Eric, please join your parents on stage for a presentation. Colonel Brodeur will now present certificates of appreciation to Ethan, Elena, and Eric on behalf of Major General John P. Newberry, Commander, Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center. The certificates read, To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Ethan, Elena, and Eric, on the occasion of your father's retirement for honorable service with the United States Air Force, has earned grateful recognition for your unselfish, faithful, and devoted service during your father's Air Force career. Your unfailing support and understanding make possible your father's lasting contribution to the nation. Your growth and maturity have made Lieutenant Colonel Christian J. Pierce a proud father and given him inspiration to serve his nation with integrity and honor. Given on the first day of November 2024. Signed, Major General John P. Newberry, Commander, Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center.
See, I'm not as bad as your dad said.
Rebecca, Ethan, Elena, and Eric, thank you, and you may return to your seats. Next, we would like to do a presentation for Colonel Pierce's retirement flag. A person's military career is woven into the very material that composes our nation's flag, each career step and assignment becoming another thread of the red, white, and blue. It is this concept that traditionally ties the flag presentation with the completion of a military career. The Hill Air Force Base Honor Guard will now perform a flag folding ceremony in honor of Colonel Pierce. For June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white and a blue field representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White signifies purity and innocence, and blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally, a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July of 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of the Air Force satellites that circle our globe, and on the thin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every American who served our great nation. The sun never sets on our U.S. Air Force, nor on the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we, as Americans, enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it wave. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Christian J. Pierce, United States Air Force, retired.
Well, I think I say this every time I get in front of a group of people, that those who know me know that I don't really do long talks or long speeches, anything like that. I will say that today my heart is pretty full, so I don't know if this is going to be 1 minute or 30 minutes, probably somewhere in between. But Ms. Frowitzky, Colonel Paul, Colonel Walser, the rest of the Sentinel team, fellow coworkers, and of course, family, just thank you for being here today. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. I was in the Sentinel program office for about 2 years, so I know that even Fridays are probably back-to-back meetings, and it's doing something to your schedule to take time out to be here. So it means a lot to me. You know, I don't take that lightly. So thank you for being here. Colonel Brodeur, thank you to you and Tara for taking the time to come all the way here from Huntsville, Alabama, for one day to be a part of this special day for me and my family. It means a lot, and I'm just so thankful for you coming up here. You know, you taught me, and you not only taught me, but you demonstrated to me what it meant to lead, to let the people who you are leading make decisions and move out, let them own the mission while giving them top cover when needed, allowing them to make mistakes. And that was the mission side of it, but there was also the personal aspect of it, the way that you took care of our family, specifically my family, when I was gone. They always had the support that they needed from you and Tara. And I saw you and Tara come alongside family members as well as members of our unit after they had experienced unspeakable personal tragedy, and just saw you wrap your arms around them and take care of them. So those are things that have left a mark on me, left an impact on the way that I endeavor to lead those who I'm privileged to be in charge of. And that's going to stay with me from now until forever. And so I want you to know that. That's something I'll never forget. And all of the things that you talked about, really, your support and mentorship honestly made my career what it was. And so I wouldn't have gotten to where I got without you and without Tara. So thank you. So I'll say, first of all, I can't believe this just happened. So, and I am gonna grab some water, so, ooh. I'll get that later. Not sure what that means, but you know, just as Colonel Brodeur did, I had people and leaders and coworkers in every assignment that really invested in me, poured into my development as an officer, as a person, as a husband and a father. I can't believe that it's been 21 years since I showed up here at Hill Air Force Base, a young and clueless second lieutenant. And now my brothers are here, and they will tell you one of those things has not changed. And I'm definitely older, so I'll let you do the math on that. But you know, this past 21 years, it's just been a blessing to serve. It's been a blessing to just feel like we were contributing to something bigger. And the Air Force has been good to me. And I think, you know, as I mentioned, I've had mentors who have poured into me throughout my time in the Air Force. And so with that, I just want to leave some of probably the younger members of the audience with a couple of thoughts that I've received from senior leaders throughout my career, and I think are worth passing on. And the first one is, each day is a gift, and especially the hard ones. That's when we grow. You know, when the wheels come off, that's when you really have to get down to it and figure out how we're going to do things better, how we're going to be successful. And when I say each day is a gift, I know most of you are in the Sentinel program, and you're probably thinking, so is every day my birthday, or you know, Christmas? I'm getting a lot of gifts, but it's I think you know, the Sentinel program is so important, and even those hard days are a gift. And I think some of the strongest bonds are formed in that kind of crucible of difficult times. And I'll say I have relationships in this program office that I'm going to take with me, you know, hopefully for the rest of my life. And it's been a blessing to work with you all. The second point is kind of similar to what Colonel Brodeur was saying. I had a senior leader tell me, and I've shared this with some of you all before, that you need to run out of Air Force before you run out of family. And when he told me that, you know, I thought about that. And the more I thought about that, I was like, wow, there's a lot of wisdom in that statement, that you know, we are doing things that are vitally important to the defense of our nation. But at the end of the day, who is going to be there with you when those things are over? And kind of going along with that, I had a senior leader share with me that, hey, the Air Force is going to be done with all of us someday. It's going to be done with all of us. We're going to have our day, and the Air Force will thank us for our service, and then it will be done with us. And what we take away from the service is our family, most important, memories, and the relationships that you build with those who you serve with. And I have to say that I'm so blessed. I'm taking away from the Air Force more than I could have ever thought possible. But so that's number two. And the third thing, it's more to our CGOs and maybe some of the younger civilians, and that's to follow your own path. And what I mean by that is it doesn't all have to follow the career pyramid, or you get told by whether it's your assignment team or your some of the leadership down at AFPC that this is what you should do. Like this is that this is the right path, and it's all well-intentioned, and those are good things. But I guess my message is more find what makes you passionate and follow that, because the Air Force needs your excellence. So find what you are fulfilled in doing and do the best that you can. And I think that is one of the ways that we best contribute to the service. So that's kind of my my soapbox speech. My old guy retiring feels like he has some wisdom to share. And now I'd kind of like to move into thanking some important people. And whenever you start naming names, you always run the risk of leaving someone out. And I hope you know that that is not my intention. And everyone in this room has been important to me and kind of shaped my path in one way or another. But wanted to throw out a few specifics. First, so my roommate from the Air Force Academy, Lieutenant Colonel retired Kurt Gerlach, is there. So we shared a lot of good times at the Academy and over the past 21 years, some of which I'll ask Kurt not to share, but, but I appreciate you being here, Kurt, and for being a lifelong friend. Barry and Kim, thank you. So I moved here, my first assignment at Hill Air Force Base, Utah. I met Rebecca in May of 2006. We got married in 2007, and I promptly moved her to Dayton, Ohio. But through every move that we have had since that time, Barry and Kim, you've been there. Anything that we needed, Barry has probably broken numerous laws with all of the household items that belong to us that he had strapped to his vehicle in wild configurations. I remember him driving down to Holloman Air Force Base in a dust storm with an entire playground strapped to the top of a Toyota Tacoma. And but those are the kind of things that you've done for us throughout the years. Every child that we've had born, Kim, you've come and really given us months out of your time to help us and to make sure that that we were okay. So I appreciate that. And all right, is this a small one? So Kim, I just had some flowers for you. Thank you. So, Mom and Dad, thank you for being here today. And, I remember many times, just coming home, coming to your place when I was at the Academy, maybe complaining or, just telling you about how things were going or how things weren't going, and just your support throughout the years, throughout those years, throughout the entire span of my service, just always being there. Also, when we had kids or when we moved, just being there for us. I think especially during those times, in Colorado when I was gone on that second deployment, just taking care of Becca and the kids. I think a lot of times I may take your presence for granted, but I want you to know how much it means to me and how much I really love you all, and thank you for being here. Love you.
Thank you.
All right, so Ben and Josh, sorry I didn't get you flowers. But just want to thank you all also for just good times and memories over the years. I can remember it was our first duty station in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, or second duty station, sorry. I was finishing my basement and struggling mightily, and Ben, you flew out just for a couple of days, and so it was things like that. I remember you helping me in that way. Josh, some of the same things, especially when we lived in Colorado. Just having you and Mindy's support for the family, coming out to see us wherever it was we were at. So just thank you for those memories over the years. And Grandma, hopefully you're online watching and you can hear me. But really appreciate your love and support over the years, especially your prayer. We learned that don't ask Grandma to pray for something if you don't really want it to come to pass, because when Grandma prays, it's going to happen. So thank you for that. There were times, so I was a late graduate from the academy because of back surgery. And those days and months when I was laid up in bed, Grandma was there, was helping me put my socks on, and after the surgery, she was getting me up out of bed and making sure that we were walking around the block, and we had a lot of good times together. So thank you, Grandma. We love you. Look forward to seeing you soon. Okay. Now the maybe potentially more difficult part here. Ethan. So Ethan's obviously has been on this little adventure the longest with us since 2009. And buddy, you really added a fullness and joy to our family that as much as your mom and I had that before you came, it was even more. And just appreciate you supporting me for your entire life. You didn't choose this. You were born into this, but every move, every new location, new set of friends, you've just been strong and you've overcome through all of that. And I've seen so much growth in you with every new assignment. And you taught me a lot of things along the way. And I really appreciate your blunt assessment of of situations. And that helps to keep me grounded. And I appreciate how you've always wanted to be with me or with me and Mom. There's a picture that we have that Rebecca likes to share of me finishing that same basement in Ohio, and Ethan is there with me, and he's about 2 years old maybe at the time, and he's in a shirt and a diaper and flip-flops, but he was down there in the picture. He has one of my tools and he's working on the wall. I have his dump truck and I'm playing with it on the floor. And so so we've always had, we've had good times together. And so I want to thank you for supporting me on my journey. And I want you to know that now that that's done, that I'm here for yours. I'm proud of you. And I really look forward to seeing what you accomplish as you find the path that God has for you. I love you, buddy. All right, Elena. Or as I say to her all the time, my Elena. So if any of you know us very well, you know Elena is the social lubricant of the family. Whenever we arrive to any new location, within sometimes hours, we have random children at our house, and like, okay, I guess these are Elena's friends now. So she is, you've just been amazingly resilient and adaptive whenever we have gone anywhere. You're just making the best of it. You're meeting new people, diving in at school, wherever that is, helping your brothers to feel like they fit in and belong. And that's just been something that's pretty special for me to watch. Your smile has been amazing therapy for me at the end of any hard day. Coming through the door, seeing that smile from Elena and getting that hug, that's made a lot of hard days just kind of disappear. And I want you to know how much I've appreciated that too. One of the other things that you've kind of done for me throughout my career is you have been the one who's been the most excited about any remotely good thing that has occurred in my career. You were very small when I pinned on Major, but I still remember you talking about how you thought those gold oak leaves were so pretty, and it was great, and and we still have pictures of you helping to pin that rank on me there at Holloman at the Pirate Heritage Room out there. And the same thing happened in Nebraska. You know, you thought that the fact that they were now silver oak leaves was just so amazing, and and I just appreciate your positivity and just the way that you've always been excited. So I want to thank you for bringing such a loving spirit on this journey. And I also want you to know that now that mine is done, that I can't wait to see how you continue to grow. And you're an amazing artist, so I hope you continue to use that gift. And just look forward to seeing it all unfold. So thank you. All right, so Eric, the number 3 child that I always wanted. And so if you need more background on that story, you'll have to talk to Eric. But you know it's true. So Eric, you have shown a resilience just beyond your years. When we moved to Offutt Air Force Base, that was, so Eric was 3 years old, and that was his 4th state to live in. And, you know, so that was all that you knew. But what struck me was your spirit and your demeanor. You know, obviously you were young, you know, probably didn't remember it that well, but you were along for the ride and you were happy to be there. And I can remember during one of our PCSs, you know, I have pictures of Eric sleeping in one of my Mo bags, and you know, just things like that. All the fun, all the amazing one-liners that come from Eric, and Rebecca has a pretty good collection of those that she saved throughout the years. Just smiling through every circumstance. I love your curiosity. You never accept anything at face value, and you are definitely not afraid to ask me why, and I appreciate that, and I hope that you keep that curiosity, never stop asking why. And I want to thank you for the joy that you've brought me and our family, all the fun times that we spend together, and all the memories made so far. And I look forward to making even more on this next chapter with you. I love you, buddy. So, the most important things that I have to say this morning. Just need a second. So, Becca, or as many of you in this room have probably heard me refer to her in the most respectful way, Sink Pierce. And for those of you who may not have a military background, that's CNC, Commander-in-Chief. So Commander-in-Chief Pierce. I cannot put into words what you have meant to my career. And so I'm going to fail, but I'm really going to try to say a few things so that you all here might have just a small sense of what it's all meant. So, coming back to Utah, as Colonel Brodeur mentioned, this is a full circle assignment for us. As I had mentioned before, in May of 2006, I met the most beautiful woman I had ever seen at the Applebee's in Layton. So magical things can happen at the Applebee's in Layton. I won't share the entire story because it's probably a little bit too long, but and I know you're probably still wondering how did you pull that off? I still don't know, and I'm still not arguing with it. So you've been my biggest source of encouragement in difficult times. No matter what was going on, you always had something positive to say to me. The situation might have been far from positive. The things that maybe we were facing were difficult, but your strength and your outlook on everything was just amazing. You were my trusted advisor in times of uncertainty, and your words and your perspective kept me grounded, always. When I was tempted to maybe put career before family, or make decisions that would have been wrong, that would have taken us down the wrong path. Your advice and your wisdom kept me grounded, and I thank you for that. You gave me unshakable support during times when duty called for extended hours or extended time apart. As you were telling that story earlier about the deployment from Holloman, I was getting a little emotional as well, and I'll never forget standing with you in a hospital room in Gerald Champion Regional Medical Center, Alamogordo, New Mexico. Less than 24 hours after Eric was born via cesarean section, and the only words that I could come up with during that time was, "I'm sorry." And I don't remember how many times I said it, and it probably started to sound ridiculous because I really had those times when you got nothing. I had nothing. Nothing I could say but, "I'm sorry." But it was your words during that moment. It was dark. It was dark in the room. It was, I was struggling. It was your words that really gave me the strength to go and do what the mission called for, and it was, "We are going to be okay. We will be here when you get back. Your kids are going to be fine." And that moment really stayed with me. I already knew that about you. I already knew that I always had your support, but that time is just something that I'll never forget. And thank you for not only saying it but meaning it during that deployment and the one that followed. And it's something that I'll say it's rare. I think it's rare because not everybody had it. Not everybody had the spouse that was going to the mat for them like that. And the times when there was tears in my eyes because of what I knew the next several months held, you assured me that it was okay, that it was going to be fine. Thank you. So part of marrying into a military family is I know you put your career on hold. Every move was starting over in terms of work and school, and that's a big sacrifice. And I can never repay you for that. I can just say thank you. Our kids, you gave them consistency. I just talked about how Eric was, on his fourth state in his third year, but that didn't matter because our home was the consistency. Wherever we were at was home, and wherever we were at, you provided our kids with that environment that made them able to flourish as they've done, and it's all because of you. And then lastly, just your love. It allowed me to do my best and to be the best that I could be. And And I know that it would not have been, I would not have been nearly, if I've been successful, it's only because of that. And so I just want to thank you for that. It's, like I said, there's not enough words. There's not enough words, and I'm probably doing a poor job of describing everything and kind of telling you what's in my heart. But so now that we're kind of at an inflection point, I guess, the next chapter, I'm so excited to put down roots with you here in Utah. I'm excited to make more memories, and just excited to see our kids just grow up in the same place for a little while. So I love you more today than I did yesterday. So. Okay, I'm out of note cards, and some of you are probably like, thank God. But lastly, just again, I thank you all for being here today, but also being a part of my career. And you know, I'll hopefully stay in touch with everybody in this room. I think you all know how to get in touch with me, have my contact information. So thank you. It's been great. I can't believe it's gone this fast, but it's been great. It's been a blessing, and I'm looking forward to serving with you all in the next chapter. But Lieutenant Gehring, I'm done.
In keeping with Air Force tradition, we will conclude today's ceremony with the playing of the Air Force song. While it is customary for military members to stand, we invite all of our guests to join us in standing for the Air Force song and the departure of the official party and distinguished guests. And assure him that he will always be a valuable member of the Air Force. We wish him and his family every success in their future endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please proceed through the receiving line to congratulate our retiree.
Hey, Roger. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Hey, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Jason, how are you? Good to see you, man. Thank you. Hey, Howard. Thank you.